these, so I'm gonna take a look at the games from, I believe the series is not the Goal. This is Primal Powers Pangoros against Malignant Chains. So, first game, Jojin against TGA. Hmm. So we see a second stall here, and much like the stall we saw in the previous matchup, which was from JB, this stall is even weaker to water, and we saw what the Kyogre did in that other matchup. However, TGA does not have a Hatterene, so I'm guessing. Uh, Looking at this Jojen team, I feel like this Blissey has to be Terra Water Rest, and then the Arceus. Hmm. I'm not sure how this stall even works, honestly, because I feel like it loses to everything that would beat stall, but it would be pretty solid into like hyper offense, which I imagine was the intent here. As for TGA, very aggressive team, without that much like hazard counterplay. Obviously, Arceus is always a liability in these longer games because it can never run boots. Zacian, not probably not doing much this game. The Ho and the Koraidon could bring value, depending on this set. This Ho is probably somewhat defensive and probably is not doing that much. The Kyogre probably is going to be the carry here. So let's see how this goes. Yeah, leads Kyogre into Gliscor. I think that makes sense. Now here's where, yeah, this could be a choice Kyogre, but looking at this team, I feel like Boots just makes a lot more sense. As Jojen goes into Blissey. Okay, that makes sense. That does a chunk. CM on Soft Boil. Okay, that's fair enough. And this reveal, so Terra Goes just makes a lot of sense here to me. However, this Blissey could be Shadow Ball. We saw that in the last game. I thought it was going to be Shadow Ball, and it wasn't. Um, if this Blissey is Shadow Ball, it could just beat this Kyogre. Or if it's Rust, if it's CM Rust, it can also just wall out because Origin Pulse only has like 16 PPs, and TGL already used the Terra. So if you're Terra Grass or something, could be the chance to pull it out. So okay, goes for CM. I feel like you kind of need to resist though. You don't really want to unless you have Shadow Ball. STGA just opts to switch out, which fair enough. You kind of want to scout for if the Blissey is, if it wants to Shadow Ball. This Gliscor is very awkward to play around of for TGA because whatever happens, like Spikes, Knock, Toxic, all really annoying to play around. And this Eternatus. Oh, Ghost Bliss. I don't really like that from Jojen because the Blissey is already tasked with checking the Ogre. Any PP it's wasting on Eternatus is less than ideal. Because if Blissey is like somewhat checked, the Kyogre will run through it. So it is Rust. That makes sense. Um, so I guess that makes the PP loss more bearable because you have a lot more to work with, and does get the knock on the Eternatus. So that's good for Jojen. It gives them more leeway to work around the Eternatus. Um, I guess you can just switch back and forth here between Gliscor and this Kyogre is not Boots. But this yeah, so the Kyogre you kind of have to hope it doesn't crit your Blissey, and I would think you would Terra here. Though this might be Terra Dark for Lunal, but that wouldn't really make that much sense. Okay, I guess we're just doing this. Okay, Fish is for the freeze. That's actually very smart from TGA because you either get a freeze or you get a crit, and you have all the time in the world. You have to fish for something. Um, Yeah, I guess that's why you run like Shadow Ball, or why you would run like uh Terra something. And here, you'd get the sleep for a couple turns, gets the crit, gets another crit. This is basically over. um, oh, I guess it's not. So he misses. I mean, but you're looking down the barrel of like three. Well, yeah, three. I was gonna say 3 water weeks and one non-water week. This guy's not tanking anything. Doesn't even kill. Uh, yeah, this is just over. Um, yeah, tough. But that's the risk of playing stall. Sometimes you just open yourself to, attacks from the opponent, and your stall just does not cover a specific matchup. You matchup fish, doesn't work out. Tough luck, but it is what it is. Okay, back with some underused. So Taka is using what appears to be a hazard stacking team with lots of priority and a couple of fast Pokemon, like some kind of I want to say flying, not flying, you know, overload core, because this Gyarados, I'm guessing it probably is not running Terrablast flying. It's probably sub. Obviously it's sub Dragon Dance. It probably has water. It certainly has Waterfall. I'm thinking it probably has Earthquake last. And then using Lucario, not a very common Pokemon, but does look pretty good here. The Mandibuzz cannot really click dark moves that safely against it because it might just raise its attack. Um, in general, this team leads very heavily into physical offense. So if this Mandibuzz is, the physical defensive wall, it will run through it very quickly. As for Kimmer, I think his team looks pretty cool, and it does look pretty solid into most hyper offense, but because he does have like two, at least one certain priority user in Scissor. The Keldeo could be Vacuum Wave, um, and does have this Scarf Gardevoir for speed control and ability cloning, so we'll be able to intimidate the Gyarados. However, this matchup looks sort of rough to me for Kimmer. Mostly because the Lucario and the Gyarados as well. The Gyarados sets up on basically everything. Well, no, it sets up on Keldeo, it sets up on Sizz. Mandibuzz cannot really try to hit it with foul play without sending up the Lucario. Um, yeah, let's see how this goes. Okay, so yeah, leading Sandy Shocks into guard. Not very surprising, just trying to get up your hazards as fast as possible. I'm surprised Kimmer decided to lead with Gardevoir, but I guess they just don't really have that much else that would rather lead into Sandy Shocks. Yeah. None of these potential leads would have been great. Straight up goes for the Iron Jugulus. Probably going to be hitting a cane into an Earth Power, maybe a Taunt first. Yeah, because these Tinkatons, it is going to hurt, but it's not going to be able to hit twice. An Earth Power followed by an immediate. Oh, not a. Yeah, just go straight for the damage. Doesn't even bother going for Taunt. Now Scissor is in. But Slitherwing is in as well. So the Slitherwing probably is going to Flame Charge. And then it's going to try to boost up. I don't know if it gets past Keldeo, though. So, okay, this Keldeo is leftovers. It might have some bulk. But it does not 2-hit KO the Slitherwing. And, oh, that's a 1-hit KO. I did not. That's really bad then. Because I don't know if this is going to be able to even kill Slitherwing. Oh, it's Terra Fairy. Okay, that makes sense. I thought it would just be Fairy for the resistances, but Terra Fairy makes a lot of sense. I guess Kimmer is playing this as well as he could. I just think Lastmon Gyarados is really scary. The Mandibuzz is low, and the Lucario is still there. and you used up your terra, but you still Gardevoir can still intimidate Gyarados, and Gyarados might not be Jolly, so the Gardevoir could be faster. So gonna trade Shadow Sneak for a Deadly Bullet Punch here. Pretty solid for Kimmer. Now we're just scary Pokemon. So Gyarados, I think he goes straight into Gardevoir here. Mm. Oh, it just goes for the Waterfall and gets the crit. Yeah. Mm. Like I said, it doesn't have Earthquake. I'm surprised it's not going into Gardevoir. Because at least you can reduce the attack, right? And it is Jolly, right? I feel like, mm, maybe you could have gone like, here you go straight guard and you intimidate it at least once, and then after that you can go Mandy and Roost, and then you still lose to Lucario, but uh, at least you tried. I, I don't know. That looked pretty tough. Yeah. All right. Well, on to the next game. Sometimes you just lose to a hyper offense in SV. Okay, next up, uh, an RU game. Finally, we have some good old RU hyper offense. Still no RU stall, however. Um, I really struggle to pronounce this player's name. I'm gonna call him Gugwe, like Master Ugwe. I'm guessing that's not even close to how it's pronounced, but Master Gugwe here, running a fairly typical snow. Probably going to be Eject Button, Sand Slash, Citrus Berry, Citadel, Roar Suicune, probably Power Herb on the Armor Rouge, and the Groudon could be like Life Orb or whatever. And then LBN has Suicune, which is probably going to be very good in this matchup, and a Muck. So Haze Muck could check the Suicune forever, and Suicune can check Citadel forever. I'm going to switch POV here. As I said in my earlier video, I always watch these matchups from the point of view of the balance player, because it just makes more sense to me. Like, the HO player is kind of playing their lines and making decisions at key moments, and the balance player, I feel, is the one really setting the tone, or not, or failing to. Um, at least in matchups where gameplay happens, because with sometimes you just beat the HO team, and sometimes you just lose. But here, I feel like both players have a shot. So Jirachi lead makes a lot of sense. Probably maybe Scarf Jirachi, and gunning for the Ninetale. It could be not Scarf too, just a regular pivot. This team is pretty fast from LBN, so it could be like a normal Jirachi. Just goes for the U-turn. And Heracross, not going to be the most important Pokemon. You don't really need to break this core open, because Gugwe does not really have a defensive core. Trailblazing into the Armor Rouge, good call out from Gugwe, and gets to position the Armor Rouge. So, I mean, okay, just goes for the Armor Cannon into into the Muck, and then Crawdon's gonna come back. It is Sash, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe there for like other hyper offense teams. Just goes for Knock. Probably gonna go Jet. Oh, nice play by LBN, navigating himself into a better position. This Neufern, I don't know if it can hit the Ninetales, but good, very good sequence there from LBN. So takes the knock with the Hera, and then on the obvious sack just goes to Neufern, and then repositions. Very very good sequence there from LBN. Knocks off the weakness policy. Okay, that's not what I was expecting. Creates knock. Leftovers. Oh, it's Curse. Wow, I have not seen that in a while. So Curse Muck is pretty interesting here because I don't know if it. Uh, well, it's done. So um, that doesn't help. And here, I think the Sand Slash, you just go for the hazards, right? No, you just knock out the Suicune. Okay, I guess it probably doesn't have hazards if it's weakness policy. That okay, no, it has spikes. Suddenly, this flinch kind of makes it rough for LBN. Kind of makes it so the Muck is, the Muck was very good against the Suicune, and obviously it no longer really is because it's slower than Suicune. And Suicune here is gonna Calm Mind, but no threat. LBN still has his own Suicune or the Jirachi, which might be Scarf. Uh, I got leftovers before. Hmm. Okay, yeah, goes for the Mega Horn. I'm thinking that might have been scary if they missed, but here you can Veil and goes into the Crawdaunt on the trick. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, good on LBN, good recognition there. Brings back the Muck. Otherwise, that would have been a lost, lost cause. The game was lost. But this is still very playable for both players. So I'll be honest, I have no clue who wins between Curse Muck and Calm Mind Suicune. Let's fast forward through this because you just curse up, then you sleep. It looks like Muck is winning, so okay, and they roar, so kind of resets the position. Heracross back in. You're gonna set up the veils again, right? Because you do have the defense buff, so you're not really. Oh no, you sack the Crawdaunt, and I'm guessing you go to the Citadel here. Um, Earthquake and back to Suicune. Okay, so I don't think you would ever risk. Yeah, you don't ever risk going for like Belly Drum, as if Suicune burns you, you just lose. But I think if Suicune doesn't burn you, you might just win. So might have been worth a try. You get like yeah, kind of a shitty veil here because you're running out of snow very soon. So the Citadel, well, the Citadel is running shards. It would be slower than I think slower than Suicune still. I'm guessing this is probably the chance this goes Citadel, as Citadel, Cititan, and this is your chance at belly drumming, right? Because you have the snow boost and the veil boost, and even if this is dice, it doesn't kill. These Rhyperiors often, it doesn't matter. This one's pretty dead. And now, like I said, since he no longer has snow, if if they had routed this differently, they would still have snow here, and they could have won. But oh, that doesn't even kill. Wait. Okay, so I guess okay. At least you still have the Terra on the Noivern. That's really bad, because now okay. I guess I don't know if okay you Veil, but at least Muck gets the heal back up. Um, goes for the Encore. Fair enough. And here you probably go for Freeze Dry, I'm guessing. Or Moonblast, it's probably what you have. Armor Rouge and on Noivern. Master Your Gugwe still has yet to use their Terra. So it does come out here. Goes for the Meteor Beam. Goes for Knock. Does not get the Poison Touch. Or, no, it does get the Poison Touch. And now we're going to start seeing, like, oh, another Meteor Beam on the rest. Smart. Yeah. So I already saw this game, but I only really saw the tail end of it. Did not really pay much attention. But this last turn, it goes for energy ball for some reason, instead of the very obvious armor cannon. I'm sure there was a reason. I know Gugwe is a very good player, so it must have been like a calc where they got into their own head or something. Because I see their timer and they thought a lot before doing this. It wasn't like a misclick or anything. Uh, I'd be very curious to know because the energy ball kind of just throws the game here. Um, I don't really have a great explanation for it. We already saw that Muck beats the Suicune. Yeah, the energy ball. I don't know what to even think of it. I feel like armor cannon is just such an obvious click here because Noivern is not that bulky. So yeah. Anyways, on to the next game. Back with some never used. So Amph and Hacker, two players I really enjoy watching. Um, especially in these lower tiers. I'm gonna be honest. When I watched this game live, again, I was not very paying close attention to it because these aren't my teammates. But I thought this was RU for some reason, because I know Ampha is very good at RU, and I believe they are hosting the RU Open, which I'm still in somehow. So I just saw these Pokemon, and for some reason my mind thought it was RU, but it's never used. Um, Ampha's team, I think, is very cool. Lots of potential for varying sets. This monkey could be Specs, or it could be Scarf, and then the Scarfer could be the Flygon, or it could even be the fish, or it could be a lot of things. So, or the actually, I think the Flamigo might make the most sense for Scarf, but it could be like Sword Stance Acrobatic, a very aggressive team from Ampha, but it still has the Copperajah just for the rocks and for the support. But overall, I feel like Ampha's team does a very good job at juggling like defensive typing with like uh turn aggression. I like Ampha's team. Might steal this later. Um, as for Hacker, I also really like his team. He's using a more slower pace team with Reuniclus. I would like to maybe see Spikes with Reuniclus, but it could be Regenerator too. As using double Psychic, which I think makes it a bit hard. If you were playing Spike stacks, he doesn't have removal, and his knock absorber would be like Reuniclus, because obviously the Tauros is going to be taking hazards, and then the Incineroar doesn't want to take knockoff. I'm very curious about this team, um, because it kind of feels like it is operating at two like different paces, unless it's like I don't know. Um, I feel like Reuniclus feels sort of out of place here because it just is much slower pace than everything else. But that's just my take. I know Hacker is a very good player, so I'm not really gonna be that overcritical of this team because it does look pretty fundamentally solid. Um, but there are some questions I would ask myself if I were using this for sure. Whereas Ampha's team, I think, is more up my alley. So, reunion to Flamigo, most obvious U-turn in the world here. That does a lot of damage, and it is helmet, uh, and does go for the knock. As the reunion just goes for the T wave. I'm not sure. Yeah, so this copper, I think, just wants to knock off here. Gonna be saving himself U-turn chip for the rest of the game under Reuni. And yeah, this appears to be like a more support oriented Reuniclus, which I think makes sense. More of a mid game Reuni. So whatever I said about it not fitting the tempo of the team, if it is this set, I guess it is just like softening up the team, softening up like opposing teams with T Wave and Psychic Noise and Knockoff. So I guess in that sense, um, it does make a lot of sense. Yeah, and then obviously you would still want to pair it with Bronzong because even though they're both weak to knockoff, Bronzong just you want to steal and you want to ground immune. So this this is this is what you're gonna get. The Bronzong. Okay, goes Basque on the Bronzong. Not ooh payback. That does shit. And then yeah, so Basque is just gonna be in menace this game, I think, because and there's no more steel type, so this monkey is also kind of a menace. This looks really good for Ampha. Because the Bass just did not have a great switch in, and now okay, good call, but I don't really know if that even helps you that much because you just recover here, and then you can go Flygon or Flamigo. That makes sense. Misses the Wisp. That's really bad. Um, Hacker was already a bit behind, but that really sets him back. And now the Basque comes back in, can just flip turn here, I think. No ops the wave crash. Okay. And I think you're not gonna yeah, just you just go Serena here. You just recover back up. Oh no, you knocked the Incineroar. Oh, that's even worse. Because now the Incineroar okay, sacks the Basque. And no, actually trades it with it. This looks really tough. Every yeah, hacker this monkey I'm thinking yeah, Uh, this looks really over. Hacker's just bleeding out Pokemon, and Ampha is just pivoting. This matchup looks very difficult, but I think Ampha just the Wisp miss did set Hacker a little back, but I think as soon as Ampha started U-turning and stuff, Hacker just did not really have the tools to really keep up with that. Cause yeah, like he's just pivoting, going to Flamigo. This looks like it's choice banded. Yeah, pretty difficult for Hacker there, but very well played by Ampha and very nice team as well. Didn't even use Flygon. I'm thinking it probably was some sort of like Dragon Dance laner, but yeah, I guess that's it for this game too. Terra the Creator against ASA. So um, Terra is known for using sort of weird combinations of Pokemon. As you can see, ASA using, I want to say, a very traditional PU team, whereas Terra is using Golurk, which is a good Pokemon. Also using it in conjunctions with the Ice Table, and also a Grimmsnarl, which could be anything. It could be CB, it could be Pivot. Very hard to tell. As for ASA, you know, probably going to be either the Persian or the Florges is going to be Trick Scarf. The Globro probably it could be a lot of things, and then the Decidueye is the Scrafty check. Um, yeah, let's see how this goes with Terra. It's kind of hard to say, but AC I feel like they have the tool. Like they do have the right on for the Rotom. But the Golurk is going to be tricky, but they do have the Persian and the Decidueye. Let's see. So starting Grimmsnarl against Slowbro. AC does not respect the choice band at all. I guess that makes sense. If it's paired with a Golurk, you probably expect that to be the band, and Grimmsnarl to be more of a pivot. But I would. Oh, wow. So here, uh, goes into Amoonguss on a flamethrower, which does like 53, and then AC goes for like this play, which I don't even understand, but it is genius. It just lands them in a fantastic position because they're just free to knock off. And then this Grimmsnarl, you can't parting shot here, but the Persian can parting shot because it's not Prankster. And then I guess the Slowbro is just free to attack again. I wonder if this is like specs. Yeah, that's probably. But I don't know if that's specs, but that's very aggressive. So Cram gonna take a chunk here, but it can just heal back up. Or go for the surf, and it will have the Pikachu in its mouth. So I guess ASA is fine. This team, the hazard setter is probably the Avalok Hisui, which isn't great to switch in as Cram. So I guess you're fine just taking the damage on Rotom, not keeping the Cram. You still have Persian for Golurk, Golurk which is at low health. Um, Brooks coming in will flip, will do absolutely nothing, and Persian is free to parting shot, probably back into the Slowbro. Yeah, this Slowbro is doing a lot of damage to Terra's team. Let's see what happens here. Amoonguss, Sludge Bomb. It is going to be 2-hit KO, so you just keep clicking it. Sludge Bomb. I think you keep clicking Sludge Bomb here. Yeah, on the flip. Kill the Rotom. And now you finally get to send out the Golurk, right? Yeah. You go straight into Persian. I would have liked to see maybe a bit more effort to pivot around this, but I guess that makes sense. You don't want to. I feel like, you could have gone Decidueye first, because the Decidueye is not really checking that much, whereas the Persian is still really good against the Bruxish and the Grimmsnarl. The Persian is low here, and it does hit itself, which is not great. But the Rhydon is going to be able to set up rocks, I think. Maybe it doesn't even need the rocks, but at times 0, yeah, it doesn't do anything to Amoonguss, but Amoonguss does let in the Slowbro. Yeah, very necessary double here from Terra. If you just let the Slowbro win, you just lose the game. So, very, very well aware play. Oh, just sacks the Persian. I don't know. I feel like the Decidueye was maybe a bit more expendable. Not sure if I agree with that, but getting over the 1,000 arrowfish, I mean that makes a lot of sense. It might look stupid, but you saw, Terra started. They understand that their Amoonguss is very terrible at trying to deal with the Glowbro, so you kind of have to call it double out. Um, yeah, so finally gets it. Because it's kind of a game of chicken, right? Either you go Slowbro on Amoonguss attacking, but if Terra tries to catch a double, you want to just arrows. Okay, so now ASA gets it. Uh, gonna attack again. Probably gonna just 2-hit KO something. Misses the Mountain Gale. I think this Slowbro probably would have recovered the health back anyways, but so now that the Decidueye is in, it does take a lot, but that's what I was saying earlier. Like, the Decidueye maybe a bit more expendable than the Persian, or at least you can hop back and forth between them. Tries to show again that ASA is willing to play the game of chicken. Catches the game of chicken again. Um, Lurk on the obvious Decidueye sack. And now Florges looks like it could win with the Moonblast. Terra Ground lives at 1%. Wow. Okay. But the Rhydon, yeah, goes for the Terra Water because you need to not be weak to Terra Ground Earthquake. And also being better against Bruxish is nice. Goes for the Dynamic Punch here. I thought this was Choice Banded. Is it not? Oh no, it's not. Okay. So I guess Terra just wins. That's a pretty clutch win. The 1% live and to confuse. Oh, does he have to go for it again? Wow, that's extremely unlucky. That's really unlucky for ASA. That's tragic. Because they got the good end of the chicken a bunch of time. They got the maybe could have kept the early sequence a bit different, but very well prepared, I think, and got the game of chicken, played the matchup correctly. and just lost the demon goaler to the end. That's tragic. Uh, you hate to see it, or you love to see it if you're Terra. Anyways, on to the last one. Okay, so I don't know how I feel about this type of team from the Pros is using. Um, no fighting resist, or the fighting resist is a mix of the Volibee and the Gothita. Interesting. Whereas Arcanine is using uh, a very normal looking hazard stack with maybe Scarf Shrew, or maybe just regular Shrew would be fine here too. This team is not that slow because you're using, Volibee and Sandshrew, and yeah, other than that, it's not that fast, but you do have like fast-ish option. So yeah, thing is like you don't have a fungus to absorb spore, so Gothita is kind of checking that. But then if the Gothita is too caught up checking fungus, the Mienfoo kind of goes ham. Because the only other fighting resist is like Volibee, which is not really fighting resist. And then you're just stuck. Um, yeah. But on the bright side, you are using Toad School into Hazard Stack, which is nice. Um, Double span actually. So I guess the hazards are never really sticking. So the Glimmet and the Mudbray will probably just be attacking. Mudbray trying to catch the Volibee lead. I think that makes a ton of sense here because if you leave Mienfoo, and one of you, well, I think Pross kind of has to leave Mienfoo, because he's trying to trap the Mienfoo with the Goth. It's kind of like the whole point of this team. So I guess Arcanine could have led with Volibee, which might have made a bit more sense. And this is so I don't know if this is Cuff DVs. I saw this earlier as well. Even crit like close combat normally does I think 47. That's like the standard roll I have in my mind. So the fact that a crit even kills, I think, is a 1 in 16 roll, unless it's not a Violite or it has extremely scuffed EVs. So I'm not sure what's up with that. That sets Pros very far back off the rip. Does get the trap on the Mudbray, but now like you can just bring like Mienfoo in or Sandshrew. Yeah, I guess that's fine too. Sandshrew, if it's Scarf, it will just kill the Mienfoo. Okay, it probably isn't Scarf, or they didn't want to risk it. I feel like I can just go Mienfoo here, right? If the because what's coming into Mienfoo clicking high jump kick with rocks up? Uh oh, what? Yeah. So it goes for the U-turn. Here you just want to trap this, right? You don't need the Terra. No, you don't have your Terra. You don't have your Shield School. Like now you want to go Sandshrew, right? Maybe hope for. Mm. No, the fact that they go for this one, yeah, they're not Scarf. They're Terra Fairy. This looks like a really shit position to be in, because now you just Earthquake, and either the Sandshrew attacks, and it misses. I don't think that would have killed. I don't even know if that kills into Shard. Uh, Now you have a speed tie. Well, okay, if they had won the speed tie, hopefully would have what? Okay, that's why. Uh, it goes Vol here. Here you can just, I think you can just Brave Bird, right? Yeah, the Glim. Oh no, you just knock off. That makes a lot of sense too. Eject button. Okay, interesting. This looks very dire already. Though I've seen Nasty Plot Volibee pull out some nasty stuff, but without Terra, not possible. And yeah, this is pretty Joe Verino. Um, yeah, kind of set himself back very early in the game. That's tough. But that concludes this series of Slam games. Not the most eventful game to end it on, but hopefully
you guys enjoyed watching that. So peace.